So this is Hip Hop at Lunch with Diz Gibran after he rocked the stage at SOB's. This is your second time in New York, right? Performing?
Yeah.
How'd you enjoy it?
Man, where do I begin? Like, for one, I love New York as a whole. Like, anytime I get the chance to come out here, I jump at it. But this is my second performance in New York. First time in the city. Second time in the city. First time was in Brooklyn like 8 months ago or something like that. Yo, it's crazy.
Where'd you perform in Brooklyn?
South Park. South Park and Park Slope. We were out here for the CMJ Music Festival.
Okay.
We did that together.
Alright, so coming up in LA, how much did the local hip-hop scene influence you? Like, who were you listening to? And do you think it had a lot of influence on how you sound now?
Absolutely. I grew up listening to a little of everything, though. I mean, I'm probably not the typical, like, LA kid, because I didn't just listen to who was around me or who was from the city. But, you know, growing up, of course, for one, like, Ice Cube is one of my favorites, like, early Ice Cube. Like, you know what I mean? No disrespect to the recent Ice Cube, but early Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, Kill It Will, that was, like, those are still some of my favorite albums. The energy, the aggressiveness behind it, the intent behind it, really spoke a lot to me, you know what I mean? But then at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, yo, a lot of the production was East Coast production, you know what I mean? And I always, you know, I grew up doing the battle thing. I went to Project Blow, The Good Life, you know, I was at all the Unities, like all of that stuff. I knew a lot of the up-and-comers, Volume 10, you know, Far Side Cats, like all of that, man. 2000 Crows. And they all probably had, I'm sure they had an influence on me, you know what I mean? You probably may not be able to hear it, but it definitely came, you know, it definitely had an impact on me. And then, you know, on a whole, though, I was listening to a little of everything. Listening to South shit. My whole family's from the South, so I grew up traveling back there and listening to what they listened to. And then I love the lyricism of the East Coast.
Okay. Which part of the South?
Florida, mainly.
Okay, yeah, and you went to Florida A&M for college.
Yeah.
How'd you like that?
That was crazy, man. I loved it. I went there. I pretty much, like, since I was born, I knew I was going there. My parents went there. My grandparents went there. It's a tradition in my family. When I got there, it was mad relatives and like everything. I knew the campus already, and it was just an incredible experience, man. Just met a lot of lifelong friends and everything like that.
Did you get involved with anything in particular? Like, I know you're into fashion. Like, did they have any like clubs or groups or anything?
Well, back then, man, I was working. I had some friends from DC who had started a clothing line called Perusia, and they had come in and I liked their stuff, and I got with them. Like, they were already my friends. Like, their stuff, I started rocking a lot of it. And I started selling it out of my dorm. You know what I mean? And the shit was moving. Like, you know, we were rocking and people wanted to know what it was about. Yeah. So we were like, yo, come to this room. You know what I mean? And started selling this shit. Later down the line, my junior year, we made enough money to open up a fucking store in the mall, in Tallahassee Mall, off of that. You know what I mean? Just selling shit out the room. You know what I mean? So I've been involved in fashion for a long time. MCing, I was always doing that. In school, I was doing it, but I always did it for fun. I wasn't taking it that serious. A lot of cats was doing their thing. A lot of cats come from FAMU. Common, Dead Prez, T-Pain, they're all Tallahassee. They've all been through Tallahassee. Tabby Bonet, these are all my people, you know what I mean? You know, well, I said Common already, but there's a lot, you know, I say Common because that's like one of my favorites. But there's a lot of cats that have come out of that school or that town that have made a mark in the music, you know what I mean? And then you got Tubby on the industry side, you know what I mean? All kind of people, man. So I came up around a lot of that. I just was having fun back then, though.
Okay, yeah, and with all the success you guys were having out there, is that part of the reason why you left? Because you
yeah, I mean, I left because, excuse me, I left because, man, most of my life, until then, I did shit for my parents. You know what I mean? I did what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really my style, man. You know, I've always been a smart kid. Shit kind of came easy to me. But as far as, like, college goes, my man Omar's right here, man. I went to college with this nigga. He knows, like, I was more into the social side of things. You know what I mean? Building and making with cats and everything like that, man. And that's what we did. And so I left college with a whole different experience.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I may not have finished, but at the same time, I finished with I graduated into something.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sure. Made something out of it. But like now being back in LA with so many talented MCs that are killing it right now in the game, like Pac Division and Dom Kennedy and Fashawn and everyone.
Yeah.
Like how does that affect you? Like is it like their advantages, disadvantages to being there?
Well, I mean, it's definitely advantages. It's definitely like a pleasure to be amongst that circle of people. And the thing about it is, most of us have known each other a lot longer than what people are seeing now. You know what I mean? Like we didn't just pop on the scene and like, hey, Spec Boogie in the house. Be good, my nigga. Yo, I made you before I get out of here, man. Get out. Alright, for sure. The whole thing, like the whole LA scene, man, it's popping up now because we can get shit out easier. You know what I mean? The internet and everything like that. We can get our stuff heard. But I've known a lot of these cats, man. Pacific Division, Dom Kennedy, Blue, way more, you know what I mean, that I can't think of. Blue Collar. I've known them as friends before I knew them on this rap shit.
Okay.
And we all kind of set out. When I first moved back, I lived in Miami for a few years. When I moved back to LA in 05, I had everybody to my crib. Well, Pac Div, my boy Bad Luck, Blue Collar, everybody like that, my boy Ben. And I was like, yo, it's power in numbers, man.
It's true.
We're all talented, man. We can make some shit happen.
That's true. That's where everyone's looking now.
And everybody agreed. It didn't quite happen the way that I thought it would. But look at us now. You know, we all making moves, man. So.
Is there something about your music that sets you apart, though? Like, is everyone doing so? Like, what do you think it is that people are gonna look for?
My music, man. I think my music. I'm a little bit older than cats, than a lot of the cats that's coming up in LA. You know, not that much older, but a little bit. But I've lived a lot of different lives, man. And, you know, I saw the world before I was in high school. You know what I mean? And I've seen it again. You know what I mean? Since I've been out of college. You know what I mean? My music is experience-based, like real experience-based. It's not talking about what I want. Well, a little bit. It's talking about dreams and hopes, but it's more talking about what I've seen and what I want out of life because of what I've seen.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's a lot of that. I talk my shit and I have fun and everything like that, but I think it's all rooted in true life experience and true dreams and aspirations and realistic ones. You know what I mean? Not just like, yo, I'm doing this at the club or I got this crazy car and shit like that. Like, nah, that'll all come if you enjoy the journey and you fucking do what you're good at and enjoy it. You know what I mean? So that's what I do, man. Like, honestly, man, I make music without any like the idea of what's to come after that.
Okay.
Me and Moon made our album just having fun, just loving what we were doing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna make this album and then we're gonna get a deal and we're gonna do this. Like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna do what we love and do. Whatever comes from that will come.
We're gonna talk a bit about